So a lot of challenges and maybe stressful time. And did you had any challenges where you felt that it's too high for me to take it up? And it's like Commodore is one of the prominent position in the Air Force, and challenges was the easy way. I know it's like what how did you relax? Family tensions,
There is
professional tensions.
plenty. There is plenty of activities for relaxation also. We live in a campus. We have our own messes. We have our own entertainment programs. We have our movie halls. We have various parties and get-togethers. And every festival we celebrate. We don't, irrespective of which whether you are a Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Jain, we celebrate all festivities are celebrated, and everybody takes part irrespective of which religion you actually. We don't give it that much of importance to any of those classifications.
Okay, good. You think the human comes in first, and so that's very interesting. I was also having a myth, unfortunately, saying that military people doesn't have the heart. They are all there's no relationship building happens in the military campus because they are all too selfish people. Is that true?
In fact, if I can tell you that it is only in the military that we continue to maintain relationship even after retirement. Even as on today, I am in touch with all my batchmates and number of my seniors, number of my juniors, number of people who have trained with me in National Defense Academy and during various other courses where the inter-services representation is there. So we continue this lifelong, and that is something which is not there in the civil. I'm telling you, because here all over India, there are officers or colleagues of mine or juniors and seniors, my seniors, with whom I am in touch. And we meet, we travel together, we go on a picnic together, even at this stage, even after retirement.
Oh, that's very nice.
130 of my batchmates, we got into an aeroplane with our families and went to Uzbekistan on a holiday after retirement. So that is the kind of relationship that we have. And if you haven't met for 6 months, it doesn't matter. The day you meet, then you are back to your old training.
Great. Sir, I just want to ask stress, you said, you have any hobbies that you like to pursue? Do you had any passion that you were able to pursue in your in military days? In the since IAF days, or?
Not really. Actually, there is enough time. Anyone who wants to follow any passion, no one can make an excuse that I did not have time, because there are, I know people who have learned music or played a musical instrument or taken up painting, taken up sports, golf, and various tennis and golf, a lot of sports. So there was enough time available to most of us. There may be exceptions when somebody did not have that kind of an opportunity. And every military campus, I can tell you, that military runs the best institutions. You take a medical college, AFMC is there. You take schools, Bal Bharati, Army Public School, Naval Public School. They are the most sought after schools. And the campuses are the most green things you can find in that particular city. You go to any cantonment, you will find it very clean, neat, and pollution free. And so they run the finest of institutions. So the opportunity is also there, but then it depends on how much you takes care of. I do not have any regret about having lost in pursuit of any passion.
All right, great. Sir, I know, very great career of 35 years. Now your life changes. You're getting into corporate sector. My question is, why did you select after working? Because you had a lot of things, privileges, till your pensions comes. Why did you want to come to corporate sector? Because that's a time that you want to relax, but still 35 years, you had made a lot of tensions, not easy go. Why did you select to work in Chennai?
See, we retire early in the armed forces. I think today the lifespan of everybody has gone up, and earlier 60 was considered an old age, but now 60, 65, 70 is not an old age any longer. People are working. Everywhere people are working. Even the politicians are working at even bigger. You take anybody, any organization, you find people working 70, 75, 80. As long as you are healthy, you should work. So with the military, we retire early. From people start retiring at the age of, in the case of Jawans, the soldiers, air warriors, and the sailors, they retire even in the early 40s. and then 20, 25 years more. What do you do? Of course, one option is to go back to your village or your town or from wherever you came.
Yeah.
And there are opportunities unless many of them are not affluent. They need to settle down somewhere. So in my case, I came to Chennai. I was looking for some assignment because it was not possible to sit at home. That was in 2007. And in 2007, I joined an American MNC called McClellan Integrated Services. And the managing director, I met managing director, Mr. Ravi Nair. I had just an interaction with him. And at the end of the interaction, he offered me a job, though I had not actually gone to him seeking a job. But at the end of my interaction with him, he said, because my choice of place was Bangalore, it was not Chennai. But then he persuaded me that to say that if you are willing to be in Chennai, then this is the opportunity. I'm just giving it to you across the board. So that came as a big surprise to me because, and that is how I came to Chennai. You asked specifically why did you go to Chennai?
Yeah, that's what I understood. And how easy or difficult was the transition? Because you have been given up, in forces, you have everybody and in your nail. There are people saying yes sir, and you're coming into and heading a HR department where a lot of empathy, human relationship, your performance management, your appraisals, conflict management, blah 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 blah. So how was the transition?
You are very right in saying that the transition from a very structured, hierarchical, autocratic defense setup to a very informal multinational corporation where people call you by first name irrespective of your age.
Yeah, I'm here saying that nobody even bothered to call you sir because of the new terminology is that I will call you Nair. So it's very difficult to adjust.
They don't tell you; they just start calling you. So that's okay. That's fine. But because you are in Rome, you have to behave like a Roman. So if you are in a corporate, you have volunteered to go in there.
There's nothing wrong in that. But how did you manage? Because all this 35 years you've been given that privilege, that what do you call positions, and all of a sudden, how did you adjust it?
So you asked me for some inspirational people in the military. There are so many of them. But when I joined this company, Mr. Ravi Nair, who was a managing director of that company, he was very clear in what he was expecting out of me. Actually, no one throws you a job just like that. He has assessed me and must have found me good enough for what he's expecting. So first thing he told me is, not many military people stick to these kind of jobs. We have had some people earlier also who have come. They go away because they don't get the kind of life that they enjoyed in the military. So I'm cautioning you. So this is one thing he said. The second thing he said is, I don't want you to change. You just be yourself.
Wow.
He said, don't change towards this corporate setting because people will tell you this is how it is.
Okay.
You be what you are and you be comfortable. And if you have any issue, come to me. That's what he said. So when he said this, don't change and you be yourself, I think 90% of my problems were over.
Wow.
Because though the people whom I was to head, they had apprehensions as to how is this military man going to be. He's going to raise his voice, he's going to fire, he's going to take a weapon and shoot me if I don't submit a return on time. But all those were misplaced things, and they became very good team players with me, and I am in touch with many of them who had left the organization, and that this organization itself is no longer in India because that was bought over by another company. But those people who are there, of course, that credit must go to the entire management of McClellan, that company. So some corporates are managed well, very well. And this is one institution, one corporate. I was very fortunate because they were the leaders in their area of specialty and a huge name in the market.
Did you find any broad difference between the two, or anything that you can't? You have covered my question, but still, why I'm asking this question? Maybe there are, because even my corporate cycle, I've seen the Air Force people or the armed force people coming and joining and taking security positions. Very honestly, senior security positions. Even hotels, airline, airport, and all those things. But your transition was from straight away to HR. So that's what I was asking. Do you find any difference between the forces as well as?
See, as far as man management is concerned, or earlier used to be known as personal management, personal officers. They used to be called.
Correct. Yeah.
As far as man management is concerned, I don't think you can get a person better than from the military stream.
Why is that so, sir? Why is that so?
Why is that so? Because he's for the day one, he is managing people. For the day of his joining the service as an officer, let's talk about an officer. He's got people about whom their welfare, their well-being, everything is taken care of. And it is said in the military, it's a doctrine that you look after your country. Everything about your country comes first. Then the people whom you command come next. Your own thing is always at the end, the last. So you take care of your people, you build trust, you build a level of essential confidence which is required, and you are a good planner. You organize things well, and most importantly, you are absolutely impartial and fair. So these things are easily recognized by your the people whom you lead. Irrespective of where it is, irrespective of whether you're in a corporate or you're in the military or in a police service or anywhere, if you are transparent, if you are fair, if you have moral courage to stand up for what is right, and these things are already ingrained into you. So I don't think that is my feeling, that I did not have any issue as far as transiting into. In the transition process, I did not have any issue. In fact, I settled down very quickly.
Sir, thank you very much for sharing that. I just want to ask you, put in a question in a different perspective. Do you have any success tips for the people who like to get into corporate from an armed forces background?
Yes.
Any tips that you would like to give?
Yes, I think they also should follow this thing that if you are being selected for a corporate job, you are being selected for what you are. What you are is what you are, and you don't need to change. You don't need to, you must change for the good always. Of course, one must be open to change, and the environment is different. It won't happen. Everything won't happen the way it happens in the military. But here again, none of those. There are certain principles of war, which a military man follows. The first thing is selection and maintenance of aim. You select an aim and maintain that aim. So in the company, you take it in the corporate sector, you have a vision or a mission.
Correct.
And you know, once you have understood that, you maintain it. You maintain to achieve that thing. Then economy of resources. You always economize on the resources. With minimum resources, maximum output.
Yes.
That is there. Then, there's so many things like this: cooperation, administration, logistics. Everything is part. See, every management principle has evolved from a basic military need. That is a truth.
Okay.
Everything has evolved from the military need, whether it is logistics or whatever, sales and market, anything you take, it has evolved because of a military need. So therefore, the military people are absolutely fit to do. So you don't need to change. You be what you are, but you have to be. You have to learn the new skill in the depending on the, like in the corporate, where HR was actually the way it is managed it was new, but the core things like training, etc., are already known to me. How to design a training curriculum, who needs training, who doesn't need training, or appraisals, which these are all known to you. So only a few labor laws and regulations, so that you have to spend some time, learn and start delivering. You can't be all the time dependent on advisors. So you have to. So only to that extent one has to do. So my tip to anybody who wants to join is: you remain yourself. You uphold whatever
your values and beliefs
that you already have, and that they will get easily noticed and recognized. And that is one good way to build trust.
I think you mentioned a couple of them, which I understood from the interview, is that keep learning, because there are no need that you need to keep on with the new change. And you have shown a very inspiring thought, saying that you didn't say that I know everything. I'm not. You said you went back and learned the labor laws and everything, and you're willing to work with the people with less. I mean, you never had the ego. That is what it counts for your success, I think, sir. Do you agree with that?
And also to the corporates, they should, in fact, they should be happy to take military people who come at the age of 50 and 55 and in and around that age, because you are getting a trained leader whose levels of honesty, integrity, dedication, loyalty, etc., are already tested and proved. And he has listened to, and he has spent so many years in a discipline thing. He can only add value. He cannot do anything else. And I have known number of people who have added value and who have contributed immensely to the organization they have joined. So I feel that, of course, one problem here is that the corporate heads, very, very senior people who should be looking at this as an opportunity for them to get people, are not aware of how good the military officers are, or like you said, the security job.
Mm.
Today, people are handling high-tech equipment,
Mhm.
far advanced, digitalized. They are on a digitalized environment. Even as early as 1980, automatic data handling systems and things like that are already coming to the military.
Defense. Mhm.
So it's a misnomer to think that they are good for a
Yeah.
security guard job.
That's what I want to change that, because I've seen people, some
No,
not
they are good for any operational job that you can assign them, and they are quick learners because they adapt to new situations. They adapt, but only thing is little hand holding initially may be required. But after that, once they and it is both ways. The officer who wants to join must know that he has to change a little
I
bit in
understand.
terms of learning. He has to learn the
I think
new.
the common point which I want to say is that no ego and willing to learn will make a person very successful in corporate life from military.
Yes,
Correct,
yes.
sir. Sir, what, from your opinion, I would like to hear your opinion. What could be the measures taken by the government, private sector, and public sector who would like to, help people like you to have a smooth transition? Anything we can think about it, your suggestions?
Yes, yes. I think one is the state government must have some machinery. All state government must, because most of the people after retirement would like to go back to their home states. That is
Okay. Yeah.
that is a natural thing which can happen. I mean, nobody wants to go to another state and again continue living away from their family and extended family and relatives. And so everybody would like to come back. So a state government should have some kind of a system by which they can monitor and they can aware at least 4 months prior to an officer's retirement or a Jawan's retirement, what kind of suitability he has, and then some kind of a lateral induction must be planned as an official process, so that that person can transit into a easy civil life and contribute to the society, contribute to the government, contribute to the organization. The thousands of such opportunities which can be. So that is one thing which the government can do. Corporates, likewise. In fact, if you ask me frankly, I think every corporate must put up photographs of these war heroes who have won Paramveer Chakra and things like that, and they are the inspirational heroes, leaders. They're brief write up about them. I mean, trigger that passion in these people to think. Everybody can't join the military, but you can always recognize a person who has
done something for the country,
sacrificed his life.
for the country.
And then those who are survivors, who have not sacrificed their life, they have also gone through a lot of hardships.
I know.
Look after them, get them into some appointment, because they all need to have a rehabilitation post service. Some of them don't. Those who retire after 60 and 62 and all that, very, very senior position, they may not. They do get jobs as consultants and advisors to various companies. But I'm talking about the early departure, the people who leave from 40, 45, 50, 55. They definitely need some mechanism. Government and corporates must do it.
So my last question would be, very seriously, recent studies from my side, I realized that people passing out from Sainik school, NDAs, are not willing to join. It could be a half-page story, but I'm not sure that they're not willing to join back in forces. They're just diverting from what they've studied. Is that true? I don't know. If that's so, what are the highlights that you can tell to people to join in armed forces, which help them to serve the country, sir?
I can tell you, it is not about salary. It is not about increments. It is not about rewards. If you see a soldier or a military person, everything is on his uniform. His rank is there on his uniform. His name is there is on his uniform. What all campaigns he has attended or what all wars he has fought is all in terms of ribbon, medals, and then whatever courses he has done, that is all badges are there. So everything is there. It's a way of life, as I said. Military is a way of life. It is not that everybody can join military. The military also has got certain standards that even if you want to join, you may not be able to join because of you have to pass certain tests and things like that. It's not that anybody can walk in. So therefore, and then we need doctors, we need engineers, we need lawyers, we need we need for every manufacturing industry, everything. So it is not that everybody should join, but those who wish to join, they should. They can be rest assured that it is a very noble profession where it is not about money. Nowadays, the salaries are also good, but I'm just saying, but it's just not about money or the perks or the privileges. It is about serving your nation. It is also about leading a life of a noble life, where everything works the way one would want it to work. You are in neat, green campuses, and most importantly, your children will get all these soldierly qualities just by being part of your life.
Like, sir, I don't want to leave you. You are an inspiring person, and I just want to have my last question, because I thought of finding it up. But if I ask you time, punctuality, politeness, and procrastination, how do you mark it? You take it 50, 50, 50. How do you mark it for a successful person? Irrespective of your forces or in corporate life. I said politeness, punctuality, and procrastination. I said 3 P's. There are a lot of P's I can think about it, but
I will put it at 1C. That is character.
Yeah.
So if that will as a basket, if you think of it, it will put all this whatever you are saying into that basket.
Okay, sir.
So I am saying that punctuality is a must in every field of life. There is no scope to go late for a function or go late anyway. So people are choosy, like if you have to go by train, you will be punctual because the train won't wait for you. But if it is a function where you have to go and give a speech or you go to talk, you may go 10 minutes late because everybody is waiting for you there. So that is not a good idea. So you should be punctual in everything that you do. That should become a way of life. Procrastination is never good because you are just making it more difficult for yourself by postponing a decision or some action that you want to take. So there is no point in being procrastinating on any issue. You either I said this before. So you decide. You take a decision based on all the available inputs, and you decide. And sometimes the decision what you take can be wrong, but maybe but it was more important to take a decision at that time, right or wrong. And then the politeness, I think it is in every field. You need to be polite. You respect others, they'll respect you. You can't demand respect. You have to command it. You have to show respect to everybody, not only to your elders, even to your juniors, even to your peer group, to everybody whom you come in contact with. Talk politely, talk in a fair manner. So, and don't show impatience. Many people show impatience. You come later, I have no time for you. Actually, you may need only 10 seconds of your time. So just, be polite, be courteous. These are all good qualities. There is a debate about these things. These are all good qualities. Don't procrastinate, be polite, and be punctual.
Very punctual. So that is his message, wonderful message from him. Commodore Nar, this is very, very, really, I'm very privileged because, I believe that, I always heard and I also believed I'm able to sleep in my home. There are Faujis working for me outside in, winter, deserts and all these things. And I would like to take this opportunity, salute this gentleman. And I don't know whether I am right to say, sir or Commodore or Mr. Nair, but I believe it's a true human fighter who has worked 35 years for us to safeguard this country. I believe that this is not very, very noble provision that people have to really consider and put forward and give equal respect to such veterans in forces. Thank you very much, sir. Salute kar rahe hain hum log. Thank you very much. Very pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.